those of you who are here with us face to face physically, and those who would be joining us online. We come together as children of Bhagwan, seeking His blessing, His guidance, His inspiration, seeking that protection that we desire against all things untoward. This morning, as we come together as one family, we surrender ourselves completely to Bhagwan. O Prabhu, you are all merciful, you are all knowing, you are all compassionate. Through you, all things are possible. With your grace and with your blessing, we can overcome any difficulty and any obstacles. This morning, O Prabhu, we surrender ourselves to you. We continue to seek your mercy and your inspiration. I invite us all to stand as we begin now with invocation and with opening mantra. Hari Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswate Namaha. Om Shri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Guru Me Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvara Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadra Kali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute Vasudeva Satam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Mandir Jagadguru Nagindraharaya Trilochanaya Bhasmangaragaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Shuddhaya Digambharagaya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandram Bhedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaye Pate Namaha. Om Manojavam Marutatulyabhegyam Jetindriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Varadayutamukam Shri Ramadutam Shri Namami. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Behetiye, resume our seats. As we join together now in opening kirtan, let us glorify Bhagwan.
लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना दुखनाशक गजानना भक्त रक्षक गजानना दुखनाशक गजानना भक्त रक्षक गजानना गजानना ही गजानना गजानना ही गजानना गजानना ही गजानना गजानना ही गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना शिव गौरी स्नेहपत्रं वक्रतुण्ड गजानना शिव गौरी स्नेहपत्रं वक्रतुण्ड गजानना वक्रतुण्ड गजानना सर्वेश्वर विघ्नेश्वर पद्मपावन गजानना सर्वेश्वर विघ्नेश्वर पद्मपावन गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना प्रथमेश्वर बुद्धिदाता भक्तपालक गजानना प्रथमेश्वर बुद्धिदाता भक्तपालक गजानना भक्तपालक गजानना परम शोभन दुष्टहन्ता संतरक्षक गजानना परम शोभन दुष्टहन्ता संतरक्षक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना दुःखनाशक गजानना भक्तरक्षक गजानना दुःखनाशक गजानना भक्तरक्षक गजानना गजानना ही गजानना गजानना ही गजानना गजानना ही गजानना गजानना ही गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना
प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय. We continue to glorify Bhagwan. As we do so, I invite you to continue to sing and to clap and to render your voices, blend your voices together as we glorify Prabhu.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधार वरनो
रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फल जाय बूढ़ीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय 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 हनुमान जय 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 हनुमान जय 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 हनुमान जय 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 हनुमान जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बलधामा अंजनी पुत्र कंचन वदन विराज सुबेशा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केशा, हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे, शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन, विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिबे को आतुर, प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया, सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा, भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे, लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए, रघुपति कीनी बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई, सहस भजन तुम्हारो यश गावे, हस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे, सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीषा, नारद शारद सहित अधीशा, यम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते, तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीना, राम मिलाए राजपद दीना, जय 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 हनुमान, जय 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 हनुमान, जय 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 हनुमान, जय 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 हनुमान, तुम्हारो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना, युग सहस्र योजन पर भानु, लील्योताहि मधुर पल जानु, प्रभु मुद्रिका मेरी मुख माही, जलधि लांग गए अचरज नाई, दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते, राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे, सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना, आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे, नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत मीरा, संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे, सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन पल पावे, चारों युग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुआरे, अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा।
तुम्हारी
भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित न धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा।
जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई,
कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाहि। जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यहाँ पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सीधी साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय महाडेरा।
पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। जय
जय जय हनुमान, जय 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 हनुमान। जय 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 हनुमान, जय 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 हनुमान।
जय
जय जय हनुमान, जय 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 हनुमान। जय 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 हनुमान, जय 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 हनुमान।
जय 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 हनुमान, जय
जय जय हनुमान।
प्रेम से बोले श्री महावीर स्वामी की जय. This morning now, having concluded Hanuman Chalisa, we join together in the mantras of the Sandhya. I'll ask the group to lead us in the mantras as they engage in the recitation of the Sanskrit verses, and we would perform the various rituals associated as we go along, Achman, Pranayam and so on, and we culminate with the universal peace prayer. So let us all sit upright as we join together now in mantras of Sandhya.
ॐ परमात्मने नमः। ॐ परमात्मने नमः। ॐ परमात्मने नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधितमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। हरि ओम।
Let us be protected together. Let's be nourished together and united and strengthened together too. Let us not have conflict with each other.
Achman, we visualize water in our right palm. As each mantra is being recited, we take our palm, place to our lips, and sip this water.
ॐ अमृतोपस्तरे नमसि स्वाहा। ॐ अमृतापिधाय नमसि स्वाहा। ॐ सत्यं यशः श्री मयि श्री श्रयतां स्वाहा।
O God, protector and supporter as thou art of the universe, be kind and bestow upon us truth, fame, beauty and prosperity.
Continuing with Achman, in the same manner, we visualize water in our right palm and sip this water as the mantra is chanted.
ॐ शन्नो देवो
Omnipresent God, be kind to us and grant the happiness and objects we need.
We continue now with purification, visualizing water in our left palm. Using the third finger or the ring finger of our right hand, we dip into the water on each occasion, touching the various parts of the body. We start with the mouth.
Om Madhava.
Our nose,
Om Pranaha Pranaha.
eyes,
Om Chakshuh Chakshuh.
ears,
Om Srotram Srotram.
navel,
Om Nabhi.
heart,
Om Hridayam.
or throat,
Om Kantha.
or head,
Om Shiraha.
both arms,
Om Bahobhyam Yashobalam.
palm and back of palm.
Om Karatala Karaprishthi.
O God, let my words, life, eyes, ears, neck, heart, throat, and head be pure and powerful, and arms strong and renowned. Let my palm and back of palm perform religious rites.
In the same manner, we continue with purification. We start once more with our head.
Om Bhupunatu Shirasi.
Our eyes,
Om Bhuvaha Punatu Netrayo.
throat,
Om Swaha Punatu Kanthe.
our head, heart,
Om Mahaha Punatu Hridaye.
navel,
Om Janaha Punatu Nabhyam.
both our legs,
Om Tapaha Punatu Padayo.
once more our head,
Om Satyam Punatu Punaha Shirasi.
now our entire body.
Om Kham Brahma Punatu Sarvatra.
Let the region of Bhu help us to purify our head. Let the region of Bhuva help us to purify our eyes. Let the region of Swaha help us purify our throat. Let the region of Maha help us to purify our heart. Let the region of Jana help us to purify our navel. Let the region of Satya help us to purify our legs. Let the region of Satya again help us to purify our heads. Let Brahma help us to purify every place.
We sit up right now as we engage in pranayam. We breathe in deeply, and as we exhale, we recite each of the mantras.
Om Bhu. Om Bhuvaha. Om Swaha. Om Mahaha. Om Janaha. Om Tapaha. Om Satyam. Om Ritam Cha Satyam Cha. Abhibhyat tapaso adhyajayata. Tato ratraya jayata. Tataha samudro arnavat. Om samudrat arnavat. Adhi samvatsaro ajayata. Ahoratrani vidhadane vishvesha. Mishato vashi. Om Surya Chandrama Saudhata. Yatha Purvam Kalpaya. Devam Cha Prithvim Cha. Antariksham Matu Swaha.
Tendency for creation arose in the divine mind of the absolute God. Then came chaos, then came subtle water, then day and night. The sun, the moon, the heaven, world and the horizon, etc. were created as were in the previous creation.
Suryopasan.
Om Udujyamajatavirasam. Devam Vahanti Ketavaha. Drishe Vishwaya Suryam. Om Urvayam Tamasaha Pari. स्वपश्यन्त उत्तरं देवं देवत्रा सूर्यं गणमा ज्योतिरुतमा ॐ चित्रं देवानाम् उर्गारिलीकं चक्षुर्मेत्रस्य वरुणेस्याग्नि आप्राध्यावा पृथिवी अन्तरिक्षं सूर्य आत्मा जगतः तश्चुर्षश्च स्वाहा.
O God, thou art beyond darkness. The luminous sun represents thee. Everything in this universe proclaims thy glory. The wise are surprised and illuminated by thine supreme nature. Thou hast given vision to the sun, the sea god, the fire god, the heaven, the middle region, and the earth are being sustained by thee. Thou art the soul of the universe.
Pratna.
ॐ तक्षशूरदेवहितं पुरास्तात् शुक्रमोचरात् पाशीमा शरदः शतं जीवेमा शरदः शतं शृणुयामा शरदः शतं प्रभवामा शरदः शतम् अरीना श्यामः शरदः शतं भूयश्च शरदः शतात्.
Omniscient God, let us see for 100 autumns. Let us live for 100 autumns. Let us hear for 100 autumns. Let us live for more than 100 autumns.
We bow our head in reverence as each of the mantras are being recited. We pay obeisance or respects to Brahma, to the teachers, to the rishis, to the devatas, and to the Vedas.
ॐ ब्रह्मणे नमः. ॐ आचार्येभ्यो नमः. ॐ ऋषिभ्यो नमः. ॐ देवेभ्यो नमः. ॐ वेदेभ्यो नमः. ॐ सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यो नमः. ॐ सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यो नमः. ॐ सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यो नमः.
Salutation to Brahma, to Preceptor, to sages, to gods, to Vedas.
We sit upright once more as we join together in chanting the most powerful Gayatri Mantra.
ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्.
Let us be in union with thine luminous nature, who is the creator of the three worlds and giver of our intellect.
Pratna.
ॐ नमः शम्भवाय च मयोभवाय च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च. ॐ वीर्यमसि वीर्यं मयि देहि. ॐ बलमसि बलं मयि देहि. ॐ तेजोऽसि तेजो मयि देहि. ॐ
Salutation to the Almighty, the giver of bliss, happiness, and peace. May we be blessed with energy, strength, glory, courage, and patience.
We join together now in universal peace prayer.
सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भूयात् सर्वे सन्तु निरामयात् सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् नन्दन्तु सर्वभूतानि निरातङ्कानि सन्तु च प्रीतिरस्तु परस्परं सिद्धिरस्तु च कर्मणां स्वस्यस्तु राज्ञो नित्यापः सम्प्रजाभ्यास्तते वास्तु स्वस्यस्तु द्विपदे नित्यं शान्तिरस्तु चतुष्पदे शान्तिरस्तु नो देवस्य भूर्भुवः स्वः शिवं तथा सर्वदा शान्तिरस्तु नः सौम्य भवन्तु भूतानि त्वं देवा जगतः स्रष्टा माता दैव त्वमेव हि प्रजापालय देवेश शान्तिं कुरु जगत्पते यो मे अध्यासीयते तस्य शिवमस्तु सदा भुवि यश्च मां द्वेष्टे लोके अस्मिन् सोऽपि भद्राणि पश्यन्तु ॐ शान्ति 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 हरि ॐ.
Let there be good to all. Let there be free from sickness. Let all see good and let none suffer. Let all be happy and fearless. Let there be sympathy for each other and success for all work. Let there be prosperity to the King who protects the people every day and also to the people. Let the bipeds and the quadrupeds be prosperous every day. Let there be peace in God and the three worlds. Let us and all other beings have peace everywhere. Creator and sustainer as thou art of the world. Thou encouraged godliness and established peace amongst the people. Who is my friend today? Let him be in peace, and who is my enemy? Let him also be in peace.
Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.
Balviar classes will resume in January with the onset of the commencement of the school term, so not on the 1st of January, but on the week following, which would be around the 8th of January, will be the resumption of Balviar classes. So all persons present and those particularly who are looking on, reminded to bring your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and so on to the Balviar class, which will recommence on the 8th of January next year. I want to make an appeal. There are some young teenage persons who are sitting on the benches, and I know that we've made provisions, so please come join us in front. Yes, that means you. Right, so we're trying to reintroduce our traditions in the Mandir. Aditya? We're trying to reintroduce traditions in the Mandir, and one of those traditions is the continuity that we've had in terms of growing up. So if you look at some of the persons here, like Indira, Prashant, Mala, and Neela, Ashtak, and all of those, Jaya, they started off younger than you right here, and they have continued on. So when they are no longer around, you guys will be the ones filling in that gap, and hence the reason to become familiar with this seating and the participation that it involves. This morning, I want to thank everybody for attending, those of you who have been able to make it physically face-to-face. And those of you who are joining on with us online, Shubh Swagatam. This morning we have performed Satnarayan Swami Puja. Sheena has sat and she's performed Puja very, very lovingly, very wonderfully. And as we commence our very brief pravachan this morning, I invite us all to Haath Jod Kare, join our palms together as we engage in Pratna. Hari Om Shantakaram Bhujaga Shayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhagam Lakshmi Kantam Kamala-nayanam Yogi Virjanagamyam Bande Vishnu Bhavabhayaharam Sarvaloke Kanatam Om Satyanarayanam Devam Bandeham Kamaram Prabhu Leelyavritatam Vishwam Hena Tasme Namo Namaha. Prem se bole Shri Satnarayan Swami ki jai. This morning, the theme will be balance in life. Balance in life. Many aspects we speak about in terms of life balance. It's a buzzword now, particularly for persons in the working environment, in the school environment, and that is about finding a happy medium between your obligations that you are required to discharge, whether it is your schoolwork, whether it is to your job, and other obligations which equally should be important in our lives. So for the young people, what is an obligation? Yeah, I know I'm looking colorful on the screen, but let's make the eye contact, guys. So what are some of the things that are important to us as young people apart from schoolwork? Vinny. You could say liming, yeah, that's fine. Liming, all right. Pranav. Rest. Rest, excellent. Pratika. Dance, excellent. Anish, you're not going to ask you, right? Family. Aditya. You could say sleeping. Well, we said sleeping already. Playing is another one. Yeah? Important. Jaya. What do you consider important apart from schoolwork? Something. Sorry? Friends, socialization. So we've gotten some very wonderful responses. I was working my way up to Vasudha, but I'll save the other one for you. And it's important for us to appreciate that. You know, one of the things that was missing from those responses? Spirituality. One of the things that, and that is very, very commonplace. When I was their age, those were the same responses I would give. Apart from school, liming, friends, socialization, rest, dance, well, I wouldn't dance, but okay, arts and so on, those were all things that were important. And very often, the issue of spirituality comes down the ladder. Now, if we fast forward a few years into the future, when we become adults, when we become parents, when we become householders, when we enter the Grihastashram, very often we see in life that that is the same focus. So when we speak about working towards various goals, primarily it is the focus on our career and material possessions, and don't get me wrong, that's very critical. It's very, very critical. Then we look beyond that, we say, okay, we need socialization. Sometimes socialization is the paramount thing before job and everything else. Then we get the liming aspect, right? So many people focus on that as well. And very often we are challenged to find a proper balance. And in that balance, very often spirituality is omitted. And that is something for us, that is not something that is peculiar to the Mandir. That is not something that is peculiar to this community of San Fernando. It is not something that is peculiar to Hindus. It is something that transcends geography, demographic, whatever. That is the reality. And very often in life, you find persons when they get on in age, so my age and older, then the realization comes in that something is still missing. And that is when the focus then sometimes shifts very sharply towards another extreme. And we wonder, is that balance? In our lives, we are told about the various ashrams in our life, right? So we are told about the brahmachari stage, which is where you guys are at, where your main focus should be acquisition of training and competencies and skills and so on. So as you get older, you are able to put that to good effect. So the musicians, for example, they would be trained, the dancers would be trained. When you're in school, you're being trained, all of those things so that you could use those skills when you get older, right? So you are focused on that in the brahmachari stage. When you become a householder, then your focus should change. So as a householder, I should not now be looking to study exclusively. Yes, we have to continue to upgrade our skills and so on, but my focus is now away from that aspect of my life to another aspect, and that focus is in terms of our family, in terms of our contribution to society, in terms of our upliftment in other aspects. Then beyond that, you get into the stage of vanaprasth. What is that? Where you are now giving back to the community. So you're engaging in community service as your main focus. Yes, uplifting others and so on. And then finally, sannyas, where you focus now within in terms of your own connection and connectivity with God and your own introspection. Now, if we think about that in terms of a graduated age scale, it makes sense. So when you're young, your mind are like sponges. See that little girl there? I could be talking now, and afterwards she will tell you what I said, even though she paid absolutely no attention to me. Because that's the way our brains are wired. Very often you look at young people and they're on the phone, and you said, did you hear what I tell you? And they actually could repeat everything because they're able to do that at that age. At my age, I can't do that. Vasudha, for example, could have recited chapter 15 straight off the memory of Bhagavad Gita yesterday. Why? Because her brain and conditioning is at that age where that memory is there. So it makes sense that in your brahmachari stage, that should be your focus. You know, when we get older, we say we head hard. Well, right. That's true. Yes, we can still absorb and we could still learn and we could still develop and we could still grow, but not at the same rate. So think about the wisdom of our rishis and munis in terms of that balance of your life. But it doesn't mean that when you're in brahmachari stage, you ignore everything else. I'll give you an example. If your sole focus is studying, because yes, I'm a brahmachari, I should be studying and so on, and you ignore your health, so you don't eat well, you don't exercise, and you don't do things of that nature, what do you think is going to happen? Before you hit 30, you are going to have health challenges. You can't sit down for a puja because your knee can't bend. You can't bend because the belly too big. And things of that nature. And there are many, and Dr. Miraj will bear me out on this, there are many young people that suffer with diabetes at a very young age. And that has a lot to do with growing up. All of the soft drink, all of the sweets, all of the chocolate, all of the whatever, all of the pizza and everything else, and no exercise. So it impacts your health. So if you ignore your health at that age, there's going to be an impact. Life balance. And I'm just using that as one example. So it is important for us as we go through life to have that balance. Now, why am I speaking about this? Satnarayan Swami Katha, which is related to us via the medium of Skanda Puran, which is contained in Rewakand, tells us about Narad Muni, that celestial wanderer who came. He came and he observed the condition of mankind thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. And his observation was no different from what we are experiencing today. And what is that? Persons are in difficulty, persons are anxious, persons are stressed out, persons are impoverished, persons had various ailments and illnesses and so on. And if we look at it in today's society, with all technological advancements and everything else in the 21st century, we are still plagued with those very things. Who here can say truthfully that I've never been anxious in my life? Who here can say truthfully, I've never been sick? Who here can say truthfully, I've never had any problems? None of us, because it is commonplace even to today, and it will continue to be so. So in his observation, Narad Muni saw this, and he went to Vishnu Bhagwan and said, how is it that these persons are your devotees, are experiencing such sankat, and what can be done? And Vishnu Bhagwan prescribed to them, those devotees who want to be relieved of these difficulties, I recommend that they perform my puja, and my puja means Satnarayan Swami Puja. How is this done? You prepare yourself by saying, okay, I'm going to perform this puja. Just like you'd prepare yourself to say, I'm going to write this exam, or I'm going to get my driving license, or I'm going to do things. First thing is the thought. Then comes the preparation. So fasting. And fasting is very important in terms of your metabolism. You know now the buzzword is intermittent fasting. If you want to lose weight, then that's the surest way, intermittent fasting. But that's not the whole purpose of fasting, and Pandit Devendra went at length to discuss that already, so I'm not going back there. And then your preparation includes gathering the materials together. And what are the materials? Now, if you were having a party, let's say for your birthday, the materials would include the cake and all of the wonderful things and inviting the friends and all of that. When you're doing a puja, same preparation. You're inviting your family members, your relatives, your neighbors, whatever. Your preparation is not the birthday cake, but it is the prasad that will be offered. And it is the same level of preparation, not only physically, but mentally as well. Then, just as we've done during Sandhya, the purification that takes place, and then you perform the puja, as Sheena has done this morning. So, Vishnu Bhagwan recommended this. What is the point of this? What is the point of that puja? It is to allow you to have balance away from your physical, mundane, routine existence. And so it was the examples that are given were firstly the poor Brahman, who on a daily basis, all he did really was to seek bhiksha, to sustain himself. That was his focus exclusively, or in the main. And so when this aspect was introduced into his life, and he was recommended to perform that puja, what happened? We are told in Katha that his poverty was removed. And he was able then to live a more balanced life. It is the same thing that happened with the merchant. It is the same thing that happened with the king, and the various other examples that are contained in our scripture. So it introduced into the lives of those persons that element of balance, away from purely material and social aspects into a level of spirituality. That is critical, young people. As much as you don't see it now, that is very critical in terms of that balance. Yesterday, for example, was a wonderful session, Gita Jayanti. And I made the observation to my Dulhan. I said, you know what? There were many people who were here who don't regularly attend Mandir. And the reason they came is because that activity appealed to them for that balance that they sought. And many persons who are normally here, let's say on a Sunday morning or for Ganesh Utsav or for Navaratri, were not there because that didn't appeal. So even in our religious practices, there's that balance which caters for everyone. There is that balance which caters for everything and everyone. So it's very important that we understand that in the context of our religious observances. Too much of anything is not a good thing. And balance comes in there as well. Any of you all were affected by the rain last week? You didn't get a day off from school? Well, you were affected. Positively, but you were still affected. I don't think there's anybody in this country who was unaffected in some way by the excessive amount of rainfall. What, thank God, many of us did not experience, particularly in San Fernando, was flooding. But we can't say the same for many brothers and sisters in Woodland, in Pinal, in Debe, in Tableland, in Mayaro, in Manzanilla, in Spring Village, in El Socorro, in Caroni. You name it. I could go on listing the places. They were all impacted adversely. Now, what is the reason for that? Well, that's the most amount of rainfall we ever get. No, 1946 exceeded that rainfall. So the statistics show us that. But what caused all of that flooding? There's an imbalance. There's an imbalance in terms of what we do as humans and human activity. And that is one of the reasons, and I'm saying it to the young people, that we voiced an objection to the development across the road of housing development there, because it will create an imbalance in our already tenuous environment. So the rainfall that was experienced and the flooding, was that something that was foreseeable? Absolutely. Absolutely. If we think about it, we would realize that. From the moment you interfere with water courses, from the moment you do not do the things that would allow for water to flow freely as it ought to, you are going to have problems in some form or in some fashion. And we've been seeing that repeatedly over and over and over again. So many persons, for example, when they would have built in woodland, I'll use that as an example, way back when, that's not new, you know, that's a long time ago. How were their houses constructed? Many of them were farmers, they needed the water, they would plant rice and other things, so they needed that. But their house would have been built in such a way that there was nothing under. So if the rains come, yes, it may flood a little bit, but their things are not going to be lost. How many of us know about that? Houses being built 2 stories but on a pillar. That was the norm. What has happened since then? Everybody backfilling, everybody building up apartments and living accommodations on the ground floor. And as a result of that, when there's flood, there's going to be loss. And you could speak about the number of things that have been done by us, the number of things that have not been done. And when I say by us, I mean people, whether it's the authorities, individuals, what have you. It's there. The evidence is there. Are we going to have rainfall like that in the future? The answer is yes. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? And that is important. We can't be having sandbags. The law school that I teach at now, because there's a development across the law school, every time the rain falls, floods. Every time. But the development itself doesn't flood. Because when it was being built, they recognized, okay, we're building something, let's make sure that there's adequate drainage and so on. What they didn't think about is where was that water going to go to? And as a result of that, lower downstream, it floods. So when people say that, you know, the people in Carney shouldn't build their house there and the people in Woodland shouldn't build their house there, I say that is really, really hypocrisy at its highest. Because they didn't create the problem by themselves. The people who built upstream and all of the developments that occurred upstream that is now channeling a vast amount of water, they are also sharing or should share the responsibility. So you can't tell me the people in Valsin, as I saw one commentator say, oh, you all built near to the river, so all you look for that. That is real hypocrisy and very unfair and very narrow-minded. So there was no balance. There's no balance. Go back to that again, that word balance. And so it is important for us to understand in life as we go forward that that balance is important. So for the young people, what is the balance that I'm talking about? It is the imbalance about making sure that you equip yourselves as young people, not only with the secular skills. What do I mean by secular skills? What secular skills? All right, that's homework, right? So you use Google, very good. Go back and check it. What's secular training and skills? But you have to balance that with non-secular things, spirituality. Why? Because when you are tried and tested and when life's challenges come at you, what do you rely on? What do you rely on to make you firm and steadfast when the temptations come? As they will. When the challenges come, as they will. When the trials come, as they will. What do? When you meet failure, are you equipped for failure? And very often our young people are not, because they're so accustomed to succeeding in everything in life. As parents, we tell them, you can do anything you want in the world, you know, you can be anything. Is that really so? Is that really so? So you need to ask those questions. I'm not going to provide the answers. So when you're faced with those difficulties, what do you do? What do you rely on? And that's why we have so many persons now relying on things, other things. This is going to make me happy, and this will relieve my stress, and this will make whatever. And you know what? Those things are transient, and they put you into a mold that send you into a further downward spiral. So in order to relax, I need to smoke a cigarette. 10 years down the road when you have lung cancer, that's not relaxing at all. Whenever you feel the need to do these things, I would urge you to research it yourself and see the effects of it. When you see a smoker's lung, when you see him in his dying moments because he can't breathe, it makes a very significant impact upon your life choices. I can't relax, so I need to take a drink. When you see persons dying from liver cirrhosis, you understand what happens then. When you see the devastation done to family and family life by alcohol abuse, you understand it. But when you see the commercials for that, nothing like that is shown, you know. You're drinking the alcohol and you have the best car, the best looking person, all of the wonderful things, they glamorize it. And we've gone beyond that now, and I know I'm going to get, you know, objection to this, but cannabis, marijuana, we've gone there now. And that is a repeat in my respectful view of the whole cycle with alcohol, except at a different level. Because when you look at the damage to one's brain, quite apart from your lungs and other things, and the damage to your family life and so on, that is the thing we don't see. But these are things that people use to cope with stress. And you have a myriad things now of pills of different kinds, uppers, downers, all kinds of things that you could use to make you feel better. It starts with something as innocuous as Red Bull. Red Bull gives you wings. You know what's happened when the wings come out? You fall and crash. Fall and crash. So we are not told of the other side of the coin. As young people, you're told exclusively about the glamorous side of the coin. Because when you're in those situations and you have nothing else to fall back on, that's when the crashes occur. And then persons take it through their lifetime. So you go through with that lack of training, that lack of balance into a family, and your parenting suffers because you're not able to be parents. You're not able to raise your children effectively. When that happens, who suffers? The children suffer. And when the children suffer, why do we have so many bandits on the loose in Trinidad now? It didn't happen overnight, you know. It did not happen overnight. And we could have seen it like we see the floods. We could see it coming. But what did we do? We created more urban sprawl. We destroyed homes. We destroyed communities. We put the church, the masjid, and the mandir completely lost in the cycle of things. And we say, you know what? It's all material. Trinidad and Tobago has been spoiled by oil and gas. And we have seen that because money came too easy in this country for people. The entitlement was there that I need lots for little effort. That is the reality, whether we want to admit it or not. And it has led to a loss of productivity and a feeling of entitlement by many persons, including our young people, especially our young people, myself included. I've spoken to many people who lived in territories out of Trinidad, grew up there, and they tell me unequivocally, you all were spoiled by oil and gas. Because the money came, the salary increases came, and the productivity was low. And every problem was fixed by just throwing more money at it, instead of the real solutions that were required. But guess what? Oil and gas done. So what are we going to do now? Where is the balance now? So these are just thoughts I'm putting to you all as young people, because our spirituality and coming to Mandir is very critical, as is going to school and passing an exam. And that's why I asked the young people to come and sit here this morning. And those who are looking on, the many persons that I know, and when you start getting phone calls from me, right, and I have a list already of people I intend to call, why not seeing you in Mandir? Oh, well, you know, we look at it online. Well, I will accept that excuse from some people, but I will not accept that from the majority of people. Because that's exactly what it is, an excuse. And then when the problems come up, and that you could talk to this one, you know, he not listening to me, you know, she not listening to me, and she doing this and she doing that. After the horse bolt, how are you going to rectify that? The investment that we make in our children and in our grandchildren starts when they are yay high. That's small. Somebody made a comment yesterday, seeing Isha run around the place, made a comment that, you know, when we were young, we had to go to Mandir for everything. That's what was instilled in us. Whether we liked it or not, you have to go Mandir. My children hated us. Ashok will still tell you what I'm Mandir for. Right? Because we instilled in them, you had to go. It was not optional. It was mandatory. You had to go. And if you do that with your children, you stand a better chance. You stand a better chance of seeing the rewards. You see those 3 young men you can't see behind you now because we moved them from there? Amral and Mitra and Roger and so on. That's the result of that kind of inculcation. And you have examples before you, and that's why I brought these young ones here, because you all are here. And I see you all receding into the background, and I don't want that. I want you all up front. Because you all are our future. You all will be our future. Not me, you know. You all are our future. And so it's important, parents, that we bring them, we keep them here. And all of the parents who are looking on, whether today or later in the week, and you hear Pandit Rudy saying it, bring your children. Because if you don't, you're going to have problems in the future, and I'm saying it because I've seen it. Bring your children. Let them have that balance between their education and their spirituality, because that is important. Not only that, you know, you learn social skills here. You know, I remember the late Sat Maharaj, God bless his soul. Very controversial person. You know one of the things he said very many years ago? Hindu boys don't know how to talk to Hindu girls. They don't. He used the word de muksi, they're afraid. Think about it. If you were, as a young man, to answer the question, had to go and speak to a young lady, what's going to be your opening line? Hey, are you going? Feeling good? Eh? Now you don't even do that. You're sending some message on the phone. You're not able to communicate. And as a result of that, when other persons were communicating with our young Hindu girls, then, well, these people can communicate, these can't, so whatever. So the socialization is important. And where do you get the socialization? Here. It starts here. It starts here. In the Mandir, where you are able to speak. Where you are able to speak, where you are able to communicate, where you are able to understand, where you have common interests, and not merely how you look, because that's unimportant. The looks will go. But your character and your demeanor will stay. So even then, he had that vision, the late Sat Maharaj, and I agree with him. It's a balance that we need to have and maintain. Why do you think all of these, let me not go down that road. So it's important for us to maintain that balance in our lives, and the Mandir serves a critical place in that. So as we come to the end of a year, as we look forward to 2023, as we are overcoming the restrictions associated with the pandemic, when we were forced to have our balance virtually, I urge you to come back out physically and to ensure that you maintain that level of balance in your lives with the secular and the non-secular, with your academic, your material, and your other pursuits, but also with your spiritual pursuits. It is very, very important. There's nothing that can replace that. So as I conclude, let us join together in recitation of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I would commend this mantra to the young persons particularly. Writing exams, you all finish exams yet? No, it's still going on, right? That was another effect of the flood, eh? They postpone exams and push it back, right? So you see, they were affected as well. Whenever you feel stressed, whenever you feel anxious, whenever you feel overwhelmed, always rely on the power of prayer. And the power of prayer, simple recitation of a mantra, any mantra, but I will commend this one to you. We join together. Hari Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Namo भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय प्रेम से बोले श्री कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. I'll hand over to the group for the next 15 minutes or so. We'll have bhajans. I invite you to come forward, perform your arti. Just sanitize your hands and go up and perform your arti. Jai Sitaram.
प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम राम राम. प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम राम राम. प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम राम राम. प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम राम राम. पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेते राम नाम. 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 भव समुद्र सुगर नाव एक राम नाम. भव समुद्र सुगर नाव एक राम नाम. राम 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 श्री राम राम राम. राम 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 श्री राम राम राम. परम शांति सुख निधान दिव्य राम नाम. 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 निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम. निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम. राम 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 राम
करते एक राम नाम।
राम 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 श्री राम राम राम
राम राम राम राम राम राम राम राम राम श्री राम राम राम।
माता पिता बंधु सखा सभी राम नाम
माता पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम।
माता पिता बंधु सखा सभी राम नाम
माता पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम।
भक्त जनन जीवन गणन एक राम नाम
भक्त जनन जीवन गणन एक राम नाम।
राम 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 श्री राम राम राम
राम राम राम राम राम राम राम राम राम श्री राम राम राम।
प्रेम मुरित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम राम राम
प्रेम मुरित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम राम राम।
राम 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 श्री राम राम राम
राम राम राम राम राम राम राम राम राम श्री राम राम राम।
राम 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 श्री राम राम राम
राम राम राम राम राम राम राम राम राम श्री राम राम राम।
श्री राम राम राम
श्री राम राम राम
श्री राम राम राम
श्री राम राम राम।
कन्हैया कन्हैया तुझे आना पड़ेगा
आना पड़ेगा
वचन गीता वाला निभाना करेया
वचन गीता वाला निभाना पड़ेगा।
कन्हैया कन्हैया तुझे आना पड़ेगा
आना पड़ेगा
वचन गीता वाला निभाना करेया
वचन गीता वाला निभाना पड़ेगा।
वही कंस भारत में पैदा हुआ, कपट से होई कर बेकर ले नहीं। कन्हैया 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 तुझे आना पड़ेगा, आना पड़ेगा। भजन गीता वाला निभाना करेया, भजन गीता वाला निभाना पड़ेगा। कन्हैया कन्हैया तुझे आना पड़ेगा, आना पड़ेगा। भजन गीता वाला निभाना करेया, भजन गीता वाला निभाना पड़ेगा। हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी, हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी। जय जय गोवर्धन गिरिधारी, जय जय गोवर्धन गिरिधारी। हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी, हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी। जय जय गोवर्धन गिरिधारी, जय जय गोवर्धन गिरिधारी। हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी, हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी। जय जय गोवर्धन गिरिधारी, जय जय गोवर्धन गिरिधारी। हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी, हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी। जय जय गोवर्धन गिरिधारी, जय जय गोवर्धन गिरिधारी। हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी, हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी। जय जय गोवर्धन गिरिधारी, जय जय गोवर्धन गिरिधारी। हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी, हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी। हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी, हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे मुरारी।
I'll invite Vishnu for announcements. Are we having one bhajan? Okay, Vishnu, if you can come forward to the announcements.
Sitaram dear devotees, once again I'd like to join Pandit in welcoming all of us this morning to our Sunday morning service. I know attendance is a bit small, but where few are gathered in God's name, it's very well. And for all of those who are looking at us online, maybe today or later in the week, a special welcome to you, and we like some of you who live in Trinidad to join us in the Mandir. And let's get back our congregation to the size it was before. We miss you all. For those who are celebrating any birthdays, anniversaries, any special occasions, we want to wish you a happy birthday and enjoy your special occasion. And for those who would like to perform puja on a Sunday morning, you're always welcome to join us. You can see Gangadine and myself after at the back, and we'll always be willing to make arrangements for you to perform your puja and celebrate your occasion. For those of us who were here yesterday, we had a very, very wonderful experience in the Mandir, reciting the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. I sat there and listened for most of it. It was very, very wonderful indeed. And I'd like to thank Pandit Dev, Pandit Rudy, Anil, and all the other people who helped us to organize that wonderful celebration. And we'll try to keep it an annual celebration, and it will just grow. We have one little member here made us so proud. Basu, let's give her a round of applause, and the mom too. You really missed something if you were not here. You'll have to go back on YouTube and look at that for this wonderful little young lady from our Mandir could sit there and recite chapter 15 just from memory. You know, it was very, very wonderful indeed. And to those parents who, you know, not bringing their children and grandchildren, I'd like to reiterate what Pandit said, you know. I brought my children here when very, very early. And it was mandatory. You had to get up, knock on your door, and you had to wake up to come to the Mandir. And today, as parents and grandparents, we are reaping that reward. Wherever my children go, I will know that they are well taken care of because they grew up in the Mandir here. They have their values, and they got it right here at the Mandir, like the other children with Jaya and everybody. So we encourage you, when the Bal Bihar class starts back next year, bring your children, bring your grandchildren. It's very, very worthy indeed. When we had all the Mandirs playing cricket and so on in the Mahasabha, our children here experienced, we did very well. You know, you meet other Mandirs. So maybe next year upon that we could look at some of those things, you know. So the Mandir is the place to get that spiritual education that Pandit was talking about, all right? For those who want to give us, you know, donations, we welcome those because they help us to upkeep the Mandir, and we welcome that very much. So we want to wish you a safe week, have a productive week, and be very safe. Thank you, and Sitaram.
Thank you very much, Vishnu. And as we stand, just an invitation, the Sanatana Dharma Mahasabha will be having its annual Gayatri Jap next Sunday. And it will start from 6 a.m. and run for the entire day until 6 p.m. So those of you who are interested, after you finish study Mandir, you can journey up to St. Augustine, to the Gayatri Mandir, which is on the compound of the Lakshmi Girls High School. And you can participate, you can join in and, you know, experience that wonderful vibration. So next week, Sunday, Gayatri Jap at the Sanatana Dharma Mahasabha's headquarters in St. Augustine. We stand now for final arati and thereafter closing prayer.
He Satya Narayan Swami Hamare Dukh Haro Bera Par Karo Bera Par Karo Tum ho Dev Daya ke Sagar Ab Udhar Karo Bera Par Karo Bera Par Karo अजर अमर अविचल अविनाशी घट घट के वासी प्रभु तुम घट घट के वासी जन्म जन्म की तुम्हारे दर्श की अखिया है प्यासी प्रभु जी अखिया है प्यासी
as we conclude in prayer this morning. O Prabhu, we come before you in complete and utter surrender. You are mother, you are father, you are family, you are friend, you are knowledge, you are wealth, you are everything to us. This morning we recognize so many persons who are in need, so many persons who are facing difficulty, so many persons who may be experiencing illness of some kind. We ask you to have that divine intervention in their lives and to uplift them, to remove all sankat, to remove all problem. Indeed, to inspire them towards the challenges that they face so that they can overcome them in a way in which you would have them to. Mother, we pray, O Prabhu, for your continued protection, your inspiration and guidance as we go about our daily lives. Let us always remember you, not only around us, but most importantly, O Prabhu, that you are firmly within our hearts. Hari Om. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Seka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Sato Ma Sargamayam Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamayam Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय, श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय, बिंद्रावन बिहारी लाल की जय, प्रेम से बोले श्री सच्चे सनातन धर्म की जय. Turn to those around you. सबको जय सीताराम, जय सीताराम, जय सीताराम. Have a very safe and very powerful week ahead. You're reminded refreshments have been provided for everyone, so please partake of these refreshments before you leave. And we look forward to seeing you all with us again next Sunday from 8:30 a.m. Sabko Sitaram.